Well, I got a couple of my favorite guns out here today for several reasons. Of course, they're both marlins. I make no secret of my like for marlins. But these are a couple of those that I always keep kind of handy. You know, it's my 1895 Cowboy in 4570 and my 39A in the 22 that shoots various 22s. But one of the reasons I have them out is because I want to make, like I said, I keep these handy, keep them loaded, keep them, just not one in the chamber, but I keep them by the door. It's the kind of gun that if something makes a noise in the middle of the night, you go to. Generally it's the Marlin, but uh, I want to make a gun cabinet about, probably over a year ago. I cut a bunch of thin oak panels, and I want to use those for like the back on it. I want to make a kind of, open front, but kind of a box, rectangular sort of shaped thing that I can hold the guns that I need quick access to, that I like I say, I like to keep handy, with enough room to store the ammunition for them. Keep things kind of organized for a quick response sort of thing. There's a couple other guns that'll go in that too. That like I say, I like to keep handy, including the Nagant revolver. But somebody was asking, he wanted to see the Cowboy again. And like I say, this is really one of my very favorite guns that I would never be without. I always find it funny when somebody says that, oh, I used to have one of them. Kind of wish I wouldn't have got rid of it. That they got caught up in hype and decided they had to get an AR-15 or something, and then they sold their Marlin, which I think you need counseling of some sort. You get one of them, you do not let it go. The guy that was asking about this was somebody who would like to get one, but I think he's got a long uphill battle because I don't count the new ones that Remington makes. They're not like the old ones. If you really want to get a gun that you have for the rest of your life, you look for one of the older ones. The same with the 39As. They just don't and never will make guns like this anymore. I think Remington keeps threatening to start remaking these. But my theory is that they don't have the ability to make a gun like this. You can have all the blueprints and the best intentions in the world with all your fancy machining, but you'll never be able to make one like that. So you got to look for the older stuff, the old JM ones, when people cared about what they were doing. But it's kind of funny. Another reason I wanted to bring these two out is because I was going to show you something that I have dealt with this all the time. People always say, "Well, how can you carry that heavy gun around?" They're not heavy. This thing is so well balanced. Although it is a rather big gun, it's a perfectly balanced gun. You know, I know a lot of people who get into the guide gun thing and think that's the thing to have. Well, the only reason they were making a guide gun was because they found out that people were actually cutting down a full-length 1895. It was a bush pilot thing to make it more convenient to carry it in an airplane. You know, they just took up less room. But, you know, 4570 is a terrific caliber. That big flat-nosed bullet, you know, that's why I always get a kick out when people are trying to load those Hornady rounds, try to make a 4570 behave like a 30 caliber. There's no reason for that. They're perfectly good as they are. They don't need to be sped up. The amount of speed, with that big of a bullet, the amount of speed doesn't matter. It's not like something's going to duck out of the way, you know. They're very effective, which is why bush pilots will carry them, because they're just effective. You know, if you've got a bear coming, or dinosaurs, or aliens, 4570 is the way to go. But you can load them up, you can load them down, you load them any way you want them. They're just a very versatile firearm, much more so than anything else. And they love lead. You know, I like a gun that'll shoot a good cast bullet. You know, big flat-nosed cast bullets, when they hit, they expand, they just mushroom out, because that flat nose is conducive to expansion, much like a hollow point causing as an expansion. But the flat nose works in the same way, that they'll just mushroom out, but they will not fragment. Now, a hollow point tends to want to fragment, tends to want to turn inside out. The big flat nose doesn't, it just mushrooms. So, yeah, it makes it like a half-inch hole going in, but it makes like an inch hole going out. Nothing can withstand those. But they don't make a heck of a mess of something. If you hit a deer, they don't fragment and blow up a big chunk of meat. They just stop it. I've never had to do a follow-up shot with the 4570. It takes them down right now without a lot of waste. But like I say, it's the gun you buy and you keep. You don't, you know, it's not like a fickle type of ownership. If you appreciate what they are, you buy one and you keep it. They just can't be beat. For me, it's the ideal gun. You know, I like to have other stuff. You know, like a 22. A 22 is always a handy thing to have. And there again, like I say, they'll never be able to make a 22 as good as what the 39A is. It just isn't going to happen. That's just a reliable, accurate, and versatile in that you can shoot all the different types of 22 in it. You know, it'll feed the shorts, it'll feed the longs, the long rifle. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't care. It just feeds anything reliably. And they are so easy to take apart with it. You know, it's just excellent design. That, like I say, will never be duplicated. They can make, in fact, companies do make ones that are kind of like knockoffs, but they'll never be as good as the old 39As were. But the thing I constantly hear, you know, besides, oh, it's so big, how can you lug that long gun, that heavy gun? And I always think that's funny, because you could carry a 22, carry this all day, nobody would think nothing of it. But you go carrying this 4570 and you think, oh, how can you lug that heavy thing? So I was going to show you something. I got my dairy scale out. Because there's a matter of weight and then there's perceived weight. Some guns are awkward to carry. Okay. needles are screwed up a little. You're looking at 7 pounds. Again, you're looking at 7 pounds. The big thing that makes a difference on these, if you look at the end of the barrel, the 4570 have a long tapered barrel that thins way down. They weigh very little. And like I say, it's the balance. You know, like on this one, you carry it, it just feels right in your hand. And when you're carrying it, you're right in the middle. Now, if you got something like a short, Winchester 94s are especially bad, your hand is right over the receiver to get the balance. The worst possible place to be trying to carry a gun. This is just exactly right. And the 39A is the same way. I like some length on a barrel. That 4 or 6 inches is totally unnoticeable, except it changes the point of balance. But for, people think, oh, they can slip through the brush easier with a short gun. It ain't gonna make any difference. I can slip around with this thing like a snake through the grass. In fact, I have never felt the need to put a sling on this. This one's got swivels on it because it came with them. But if you're trying to walk through trees with a gun with a sling on it, it's nothing but a nuisance. It's just awkward. I always carry them. And that's where you got that right balance point. You tear like a dream. But now I can start steaming out my gun cabinet.